We first have Jarrett Simon. He is the Program Implementation Manager with Centerpoint Energy. And Jarrett is responsible for the implementation of various energy efficiency programs, as well as he does budget oversight and personnel development, program selection, and Mr. Simon does have over 15 years of experience working in the energy efficiency related fields. And our second speaker we have is Gary Persing, and he is the Senior Program Manager for Energy Efficiency at Oncor. And in that capacity, he manages the programs focusing on reducing electric usage for commercial and residential customers. And then last but not least, we have Allan Lambright. He is the Area Director for the USDA Rural Development. And his service area covers 43 counties in north central Texas. And what I find very intriguing is the size of the state of Indiana. That's pretty substantial. And Allan is responsible for the oversight of over 40 loan and grant programs with the goal of increasing economic opportunities and improving the quality of life in rural America. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to each of these gentlemen, and we look forward to learning about how we can bring more incentives and to each of our communities and applying for those incentives.
So really, the first thing I want you to remember, there's one topic to remember the whole time through this is the utilities have money to give away. We have money that we have to give away. Let's put it that way. So there's a lot of information I'll go through that'll give background on some of this and some of the programs. But just at the end, just remember we have money. A lot of the TDUs within Texas operate very similar programs. So no matter where you are, you probably can find someone to solicit for some incentives. So with that, my name is Jarrett Simon. I'm the Manager of Program Implementation for Centerpoint Energy, and I oversee about a $39 million budget we have this year for programs, about 15 different programs. So we'll go through a little bit about deregulation. I don't know how much you guys are familiar with it. Probably very since you're in economic development. Some of the utility goals, what Centerpoint's role is in these programs and why we do them. We have Karen Gregory here. She used to run some of these programs herself a few years ago. The program structure for the programs, and then just a little information about the programs themselves and what you can take back to your customers. So, state just shows the service area map of the transmission distribution utilities in Texas. We're all going to be under the ERCOT umbrella, and so it comprises about 85% of the state. You see Houston, the little yellow small part right there, that's Centerpoint service territory. As small as it is, it comprises about 25% of the state's electrical load. So, very energy intensive. You see Oncor is all the red area. The other interesting thing about me adding this map in here was I was told by a gentleman who was not from Texas, that he was told by a Texan that anytime he comes to Texas to do a PowerPoint presentation, always put the state of Texas in his slide. Now, since you guys are economic development, I've learned that you are already ahead of the curve because every PowerPoint I've seen has about 2 or 3 slides. So I'm obviously behind on this, so I'm going to have to add like a couple more slides to get this thing going. So, so the deregulated market, this is just a graphic of what a typical utility looks like across the country. You have the power generation, transmission, distribution lines, and then the house or the business. So our deregulated market basically segmented those entities. This happened in 99, 2000, and it basically broke up the generation. Everything was split. The reason I kind of show this is just to always think about, because it's 3 different entities now, the value of whatever happens in the market here, that value is segmented. So it's, we have a lot of wind generation in West Texas, and we want to get it to East Texas. Well, who's going to do it? It was just one integrated utility. Well, the utility will pay for it. The utility will do it. Well, now you have the generation saying, well, we don't really have a lot of skin in the game on that. The transmission distribution utility saying, we don't really have a lot of skin in the game. So it's just always keep that in mind, when it's asked who's gonna build the next power plant, who's gonna bring this transmission line here or there. Just the value of things is kind of segmented here. So what's our regulatory requirement? Essentially, we run programs on an annual basis. We have a KW and a KWH goal each year that is set forth by the PUC. We essentially try to get a peak reduction in the summer months, and that's described as June 1st through September 30th. Our goals came about with deregulation, started in 2002, in Senate Bill 7. They set our goals at 10% of demand load growth, which you can think about it as, look at the 5-year, the previous 5 years, the growth each year, so it's 100 megawatts each year. Sum that up, take the average of it, multiply it by a percentage. That's how we get our goals. So it set the goals in from 2002 to 2007 at 10%, and House Bill 3693 came along and upped the goals again in 8 through 11, 15% to 20%. The rule was amended again in 2010, and as of right now, it's being looked at again by the PUC. We're not really sure where they're going to go with it, but I can say this much, that the previous rule we had was about 22 pages. The rule that they've come out with as a draft right now is about 82 pages. So, I can go on for we can spend a long time talking about that. So we're not sure what's going to happen, but they're going to try to push it out. And the funny thing is, as soon as they agree to it in June, legislative session starts next year, they'll bring it up again and try to change it again. So that's just some of the things we have to go through. So Centerpoint's role in these programs. Anybody have any idea why we do the programs? You say that's right. Because we're told to do it. Also, it's the right thing to do. But essentially, we're mandated to do these programs. So for any transmission distribution utility under the ERCOT umbrella, you can essentially put their name where it says Centerpoint's programs. The PUC is going to be above us, kind of overseeing everything we do. And our financial bucket of money is really split into two pieces. We have an administrative piece and the incentive. The administrative is going to cover all of our salaries, any funds for consultants, inspections, R&D, research and development. And then the incentives is really where the money goes to the customer. And we pay money directly to a commercial entity or a third-party contractor that can do work in a commercial facility, or in a residential home. We're precluded from, not allowed to pay a resident directly. Unlike Austin Energy or CPS in San Antonio, that's municipally owned, they can pay a resident directly. So just the way they kind of set up the rules for us. The other piece of this is under the administration, we have an inspection group that goes out and actually goes and makes sure that what company X says they did, they actually did. What company X said that was there, was actually there. We like to trust that everybody's on the up and up and they give us all the right information and they don't try to cheat the system, but that's, well, yeah. Sometimes they do, that's right. So the types of programs, standard offer program, we have two types of programs. One is a standard offer, which is essentially first come, first serve. We put out a bucket of money, we say, submit your projects on a certain date, and when the money's exhausted, the money is gone, fills up, unless we add more money to that. It's a standard contract, it's standard terms and conditions. Most of the time, these types of programs are meant for participants that are kind of, they know what they're doing, they know what they want to do at a building, a facility. It's standard offer, so to speak. Market transformation program is meant to address a market barrier. So one of for Centerpoint, our most prolific, I don't know if that's not the right word, but successful market transformation program is our Energy Stars New Homes program. We started that in 2001, 2002 when these programs started, and it was meant to really educate the builders on how to build an Energy Star new home cost effectively, how to advertise and teach the buyers what it's about and how they're saving energy, why it's better than just a standard home. Because of that, over the last 10, 11 years, City of Houston is the #1 Energy Star new homes builder in the country. So, because of really that program. So it's meant to, again, tackle market barriers. And also, the City of Houston has essentially changed their building code to Energy Star. So, it's been successful, obviously. Customer classes, commercial, residential, and then hard to reach. Hard to reach, obviously, is residential, but it's defined as the income of that home being 200%, or income of that home being at or below 200% of the federal poverty guideline. So, federal poverty guideline says a family of 4, if your income is, say, $30,000 or less, then you're under the federal poverty guideline. As long as that home's income is at $60,000 or less, so 200%, they can participate in our programs as hard to reach. What that essentially means is they get more money. Third party does work in a hard to reach home, we pay a higher incentive. We really want the homeowner to not have to pay for anything if they're hard to reach, so they get a higher incentive. Some of these things I've kind of already hit on. Measure eligibility. You obviously have to produce a measurable peak in energy savings, because that's what we're paying on. Peak demand is defined June 1 through September 30th, Friday 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. The new rule is trying to incorporate a winter peak. That's mainly because of the issues we had over last year. We had the rolling blackouts in February. And just to throw ERCOT a bone, the issues that ERCOT has had in the last year is not because of a lack of capacity. ERCOT has enough capacity. They have about 14% capacity in reserve. It's really because either a generation unit goes down. That's what happened in February, and that's also what happened in August. Generation unit went down, couldn't come back up, so had the rolling blackouts. Permanently installed loads, no. We don't pay for plug loads, so energy efficient computers or things of that nature. Has to exceed the minimum standards, and payments, like I say, go to the sponsor, not the resident. So, for our commercial programs, we have 5 commercial programs at Centerpoint. The commercial standard-off program and the SCORE City Smart program are essentially the same thing. Standard-off program, typical measures are chillers, lighting, cool roofs, window film. The SCORE program, SCORE City Smart, is for cities and schools. Essentially, because their budgets on a different time frame, our budgets are calendar year. So January 1, December 31st. Schools and cities, they have fiscal budgets, and sometimes they couldn't make the program, so we just carved out money and said, here, this program is just for you. Same type of measures, it's just one's for schools and cities, and the other's for everybody else. Commercial load management program, we basically pay $40 a kW for an entity to curtail their load during an ERCOT event. So when ERCOT called their event in August, we called our participants, and they shed load, whether they use a generator, natural gas, diesel, thermal storage, or they just stop production. For some groups, they can stop working for 3 hours, and it's more productive for them to get the payment from us than it is for them to actually work. So they stop production, shut things down. The funniest thing about our commercial load management program is we have a retirement home that every time we call our load management, that retirement home's bill, that usage goes to 0. So from 1.5 megawatts to 0. We don't know what they do with the residents. We don't know. Well, they have a backup generator, but I don't know how do they go to 0. It's funny. So it's always funny to check their bill. Retro commissioning is so if you think about the commercial standard offer in the school program, I mentioned their typical measures are chillers and lighting. So capital improvements. Retro commissioning is more operational improvements. Looks for no cost, low cost measures. Everybody knows when a building is built, it's commissioned, and then over time, someone says this office is too hot, this is too cold, they start changing the set points. The retro commissioning has engineers that go in and audit the facility and actually look to try to reset the set points and get the energy savings that was originally supposed to be set. So that's been a very successful program for us as well. And then the advanced lighting program actually has a residential and a commercial component. The commercial component just looks at parking garages. So we try to retrofit HID lighting, T8s, T5s to LED lighting. And it's just getting a little traction, but we know there's plenty of parking garages in Houston that have looked and talked to us about it, so they're interested. So hopefully we can get that kicked off. The cost for LEDs is still kind of up there, so our incentive is actually pretty high. Not a lot of traction as of yet. Resident programs, I won't go through all of them, but we have essentially 9 different programs. They cover all the typical weatherization type measures, so attic insulation, weather caulking around windows, weather stripping doors, AC replacements, AC tune-ups, LED lights, we give away LED lights, and CFLs, even jacking and electric water meter. We'll do that as well. So anything to save electricity in the home. Like I said, typically the low-income homeowner gets a higher incentive, or the sponsor working in the low-income home gets a higher incentive than the regular home. And then smart meter, as we and Oncor and some other TDUs putting in smart meters, it allows for the possibility of more demand response and different types of programs. We actually ran an R&D project last year where we sent a signal through our smart meter to just these 3 devices here: a thermostat, a direct load control switch, and a natural gas generator. One, to see if we could do it. It did work, it was successful, but we also got measurable demand response from that. We were able to, the generator is the neatest one out of all. We can shut off the meter, and an automatic transfer switch kicks over at the house. Natural gas generator comes on, and you have a whole house demand response program. So that one was really neat. But with all these smart devices coming out, GE has a whole host of smart devices out there, from your oven, your refrigerator, your washer dryer, that you can run demand response signals through the smart meter or through Wi-Fi or radio. So it's really something that's gonna hopefully take hold in the next couple of years. The pricing for some of this is a little high, but we hopefully it'll take root. We can do some more residential demand response as well in the future. I think that's it. As I mentioned, across the state, all these TDUs have very similar programs. You can go to texasefficiency.com, and it'll kind of take you to each utilities program page. So if you have facilities, or some one of these different areas, you can always send them over there and see if they can find some incentives for their projects. That is it.
Thank you, Jarrett. All right, is there any questions? Yes, sir.
Does Centerpoint, y'all are generator, correct?
No, we're the TDU. We're the middleman.
You're the
All
middle,
the wires.
third party. So y'all don't have an economic development rate?
Rates, no. And we don't have any rates, except for our general TDU rate.
Okay, well then our next speaker, we're going to turn it over to Gary Persing with Oncor Energy.
Thank you for inviting us out today. Gary Bax had some bad information over the night, so I'm here to take care of it for him today. I have looked at this, and I didn't put this thing together, so I'm just kind of going to wing it a little bit here. Basically, Oncor, we offer energy efficiency just like Centerpoint does down there. We just kind of got a little bit larger area to take care of than just around the Houston area. As you can see in the red here, we have a water park right down to close to Houston, down to Austin, the river, then out to the Odessa area. We're the largest regulated utility in the state of Texas. We employ 3,700 folks and approximately 7 million customers. That's of course commercial, industrial, and residential customers. 91 counties that we serve across the area. And in the top point out reliability. between conservation and efficiency, basically our programs are energy efficiency programs, but we also encourage conservation, conservation is things you can do, turn off lights, raise the thermostat, things like that. Efficiency is something that you actually do to keep demand with. That's what we're looking for. Of course, insulation, lighting, HVAC replacement, solar film, windows, we do little windows in residential, and there's a ton of measures that can be done that we offer incentives for. Okay, basically, we actually started our programs in 2000, but from 2007 to 11, we've spent more than $200 million in energy efficiency programs. We've reduced 385 megawatts of demand and 1.035 million kilowatt hours of hours. Annual green gas equivalent of moving 15,000 cars off our Texas roads. And our take load off consumer outreach programs reach more than 4 million customers through media and community events. And these are some of the folks that we used to have further went out and demonstrated efficiency different things. These are some of the other programs that we offer. Maybe some of that's for schooling and things like that. Cool. Okay, statutory energy efficiency program overviews. Of course, they're mandated by the Public Utility Commission and regulated by the Utility Commission. Texas industry right now, we have to offset 30% of our own peak demand through the programs. All customer classes have access to efficiencies, and they're all self-sustained. If you're a residential customer support that class, or commercial, you can swap back and forth, so each class covers the efficiency cost of those programs. Of course, we're transmission distribution utilities, so we get to administer the program. And the rules and guidelines are established by the commission, down there now, looking at the rules for next year. Again, it's growing. A lot of people want to be involved in energy efficiency. Our standard offer programs allow participating service providers, we call service providers, and install the measures that are approved through the commission. And of course, we have a lot of different measures that we look at, energy efficiency, technology, service practice. We also have some market transformation programs. Market transformation programs are programs that we're trying to move the market, and one of those programs is our AC distributor program, where we're offering to distributors to market higher efficiency equipment. Of course, right now the standard is a 13-seater, and we pay us start our incentives at 16-seater. So and it's a pretty successful program right now. We'll probably run that program 2 more years, and then basically we move that market, I think, best we can. All our customers that we offer incentives to have to be in our service territory. We won't go down and pay anything down in the Houston area. Although we have people from Houston like for us to do that, and I'm sure you did the same thing. And you have to have it on for me. Here's some of our programs for statutory. We have the low income weatherization, which is the 200% of the property level. And again, in this program, just the Centerpoint does, we offer higher incentives for those measures that are completed. This basically is a no cost or very low cost to the customer. And as long as we've been operating the program, I don't think the customer paid any incentive or has that paid anything to get any efficiency measures. And then we have a targeted low income weatherization program. And we have implementers that for that program, and we go out and they spend about $1,500 on a house to improve maybe just air conditioning, and the weatherization, insulation, a lot of different measures can be done in that program. Then in our residential program, we have like Centerpoint, a very successful program for us. We've, received many Energy Star awards for that program, and we just received another one this year for that program. Then we have what we call our home energy efficiency program. That is just for all residential customers. In that program, we offer efficiency for, or incentives for insulation, duct efficiency improvement, HVAC replacement, attic insulation, wall insulation, floor insulation, windows. Gosh, I don't run the program anymore, so I don't really keep up with all. I've got mine's down here in this next line, ones I get to take care of. So that is a large program, and that program budget basically is about $5 million a year. So there's a lot of incentives related to that program. And the budget for that program can go away in approximately 6 months. So you can see, there's about 100, in the past, there's been about 125 service providers working in that program. It'll be a little bit less than that because they shut the windows down, so that one is long. It gets to be very hard to maintain when you've got that many different people you've got to keep track of. Yes.
But that wasn't in reference to the commercial program, John.
No, that's completely perfect. We'll talk about commercial programs now. We have a commercial load management program. That's the one that, where we go out to the customer to shut off load in critical situations. And we basically pay them for what they take offline for a certain amount of time. And that is a big program for us this year. We've actually, our goal was 50 megawatts, and it's been now increased to 150 megawatts this year. So it's gonna be a big program. And basically it's for our critical areas, critical time, when the roads get tight. Custom commercial program, that is just a regular commercial program. We offer incentives, again, that's for HVAC, lighting, controls, solar PV, or some of the big measures that are done in that. Custom program is basically any project that's greater than $100,000 in incentives, or it's a M2V program, measurement verification measure that lasts up to 6 to 12 months. We're verifying the savings on it. Then we have the government facilities program, strictly just for government facilities, cities, and counties. It basically, again, it's just a bucket of money that's set aside just for those folks, along with the educational facilities, same thing as for schools is set aside. Those programs, again, are very successful because we have people that go out and just talk to those folks and make those deals. Then the basic commercial program has almost all the same measures that the commercial program is, except that was for all projects that are less than $100,000. Mainly the custom is it's an M2V, and those things can go from 1 year to the next with payment. Then the basic, everything got to be completed this year in the program year. So, the budget in that, we have about $4 million, and it's right now down to about $300,000. We just started it 6 weeks ago, I guess, 8 weeks ago. It's crazy. It's just crazy. It's a challenge to keep up with it every day. Again, we have some very large measures that mostly being HVAC, several children being replaced, lots of lighting being replaced. And that's parking lot lighting and facility lighting. And then we have, our AC distributor program. That program is a commercial and a residential program, both of those. We offer the incentive again to the distributor, and the distributor uses that to upsell to his contractors and into the home and customer. All these are designed to reduce on people's demand to meet the state's efficiency goals. Of course, the on-peak period then is 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Mondays through Friday, June through September, excluding the holidays. All these programs are ratepayer funding programs, again, by class. All the incentives we offer are paid out in the residential program. Those are covered in our rates through residential customers. And then the commercial the same way. We can't spend commercial money or incentives in the residential or residential and commercial. They have to be separated out by class. And we have to keep track of them by rate classes that are in those codes. It's pretty complicated keeping it all together. This is our take a load off Texas. This is our energy efficiency website. This one's where the customer can go out and find information about our energy efficiency programs. It's got energy efficiency tips. We've got a section on there where you can go out and find a service provider that services in your particular zip code and the measures that that person will do in your zip code. And you'll find that many service providers might pop up on that. And there's games out there for kids and stuff like that. Way too complicated for me to keep up. This is Oncor EDM, our energy efficiency management website. This is one for our service providers, basically, where they go out and get their information and track everything inside our programs. We can track the KW savings rate and all that stuff. We don't have money to give away. We have a lot of money we need to spend for KWAs. I've tried to get them to do that where it's a whole lot simpler and it would be right up this alley. We want to use bushel baskets and pet baskets. And we just give you a basket of money. You tell us how much KWAs we get for it, we just give it to you. It would be a whole lot simpler, but I can't get them to go with that apparently for some reason. Of course, I think our service provider will like that real well. Easier to do. Again, we have all the different programs underneath the standard offer section there, and manuals and all the documentation that needs to be kept up with, the different files that need to be used to show the savings and all that stuff. And then there's a calendar with us, and everybody that participates in our program has to sign an umbrella contract. And that's basically it. Legal stuff that's in there. So, that's kind of quick and dirty, because Centerpoint Energy stole all the programs, played all the programs, but they're exactly the same programs, and we have the same guidelines we have to work with.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Well, I just have a kind of a two-part question that both of you can take a stab at, but, with the statutory programs that you mentioned, I guess the two-pronged question is, one, does the statutory program have a time on legislation that mandates you to do that? And does it have a deadline? So at that time, it'll have to renew, or it'll have to be
The
revised?
statutory programs are standard offer programs, and they are set up by the PUC, and there's no end of those programs until the legislature goes down there and says, okay, you guys aren't doing any efficient programs.
So then I guess the second part of that is there anything from y'all's utility standpoint that, are you encouraging it, are we lobbying against it? Is the statutory program not a good idea? Is it a good idea because it's only relatively young, correct?
No, we've been doing it now for 12 years.
Okay, so 12 years.
We started in 2000, our Oncor started in 2000 with our programs.
Right.
So we've been doing it now for 12 years, and we've broadened out the programs that we're doing.
So generally,
even before deregulation, just about all the,
Before
the
they
TUs were doing with programs,
everybody was doing.
it's kind of why they
Absolutely.
gave it to the TUs, because, well, you guys are already doing it, so go ahead and keep doing it. There's no, like Gary said, there's nothing that says we have to keep doing them, there's nothing that says we have to stop doing them. They keep trying to change the rules, because like you said, everybody wants to be in energy efficiency, so they keep trying to change the rules, say, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. The benefit of the way the rule was it said you had a minimum goal, you had to do, a maximum you could spend, you know, kind of like the rule before this, the one we're at now. Minimum goal you had to meet, maximum goal you had to spend. We want you to run maybe this program, and then just everything, do whatever you want for this. So at that point, then it became, once you meet those thresholds, once you're in that little box, then you can kind of do what you want. And then it becomes a company issue, you know, does the company want to do that? Yes, there is an issue. We want to promote energy efficiency, but there is an issue with revenue loss that comes from it. You know, for all of us, you know, all of the transmission distribution utilities have to maintain the transformers, the poles, the wires, pay for the trucks, but if everybody uses a little less, then we're not getting the money to pay for the trucks, the poles, the wires, and so it's a two-pronged sword there.
It's a good thing for the customer, because they save energy. It's a bad thing for the utility, because we lose kilowatt hour sales. Kilowatt hour delivery sales.
I kind of have a follow-up question. So could a large commercial user, what if, their approach, this is how I think, I'm kind of entrepreneurial, I think, well, okay, well, let's get off the load hours and let's run at different hours. So my workforce will come in at 6 o'clock at night, we'll run until 2 in the morning. And so we're not on peak, but that actual mindset, you don't see any difference in electrical rates, correct?
That's where it's gonna have to come from, it's gonna have to come from the rates.
Yeah, you'd have to go to your retail provider and find somebody that's not off that. There's talk about that, and in years past, we used to have off-peak rates, so that if you shift that, you did get a better rate. And if you actually do reduce your on-peak demand, you could get a break, because you're moving that speed to another time to, all your air conditioning may be on, or your office sits off while your plant is
I
manufacturing.
just kind of see that as a win-win sort of, because we still need, I mean, you still have that need, maybe it's a reduced amount.
Some of the retail providers
being a
are
peak.
looking at those times when they need to offer off-peak rates, and for you to be able to shift that kind of stuff. And that-
Companies do that
We are
now.
okay with that too.
They don't shift it with necessarily employee shift, but they shift it with like HVAC units. Which
Thermal
at night
solar
they
energy.
freeze a special chemical, and then during the day they blow it over that frozen stuff to make air conditioning.
Yeah, the polar bear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
thermal.
you're shifting it that way.
Again, what that's doing is you got the chiller compressors are off during the daytime, so all that energy is not there. And you're using that at night when all the rest of your facilities down in that's just kind of moving those loads around, which is good, we like it.
And my question's also around the commercial programs. Everything was up there on your table, and then also, Jarrett had spoken to, are those for already existing businesses, or can that also be to garner those new business people into the industrial parks in small rural Texas?
It's for both.
Okay.
It's for new construction and existing.
Okay.
In commercial.
Yeah,
Where it's
commercial. Yeah.
Challenges for that is like they were saying, it operates on a calendar year.
Yes, ma'am.
So if somebody's gonna make an announcement that they're not gonna build for another 2 years,
Gotcha.
they're gonna have to be aware to be in line on day one to try to capture those. They can't guarantee those incentives basically for 2 years out, that's the challenge.
Absolutely.
They would be based on when they brought that facility online, it's based on that program, and if there's any incentives there at that time.
Okay. That's good to know.
There are some there.
Okay. Any other questions? Great dialogue.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're gonna have Allan Lambright with the USDA Rural Development.
Anybody heard of rural development before? Anybody dealt with us before? No? One? Don Williams out in Mount Pleasant, right? How about that? We'll talk a little bit today about Section 9007, Renewable Energy for America program. I'll throw in this caveat, this is a 2010 Farm Bill program. Anyone know when the 2010 Farm Bill expires?
Last year.
This year. It's gone, after this year, but I anticipate they'll come up with a Section 9008 or 9 or 10 or whatever they're gonna call it, Renewable Energy for America program out of the 2012 Farm Bill. So hopefully, I won't be blowing a lot of hot air that doesn't apply after September 30th. Purpose of our program that we can use, either loan or grant funds in the REAP program is either the actual production of energy or energy efficiency. We heard these guys talk a lot about, energy efficiency, but we can, also use our funds, for production. Now, we do have a whole lot different list of who is eligible for this program. as a rural credit agency, we're tied to ag producers, to eligible small businesses, or there actually are some electric utility providers that are eligible. Now, those are primarily your municipally owned utility providers. The best example, right down the road, Greenville Electric Utility System, if you're familiar with them, city-owned system. 2 years ago, we gave them about $120,000 grant for energy efficiency improvements on one of their buildings. We go to ag producers, they have to be producing at least 50% of their gross income from ag businesses. If you're familiar at all with the ag industry, you throw mom out there teaching, and dad's a dairy farmer, we can actually skew the equation by mom being a high school teacher on the income level. Makes the dad that's been the dairy farmer extremely mad when you tell him he's not eligible when he's been running cows for years and years because his wife was a teacher. Not a fun one to answer, but that's the definition. They have to have 50% of their gross income. Small businesses, really a weird definition because I'll show you here in a minute. If you go to that SBA site, there's some very, very large corporations that are considered small businesses by the SBA definition, which is what we use. And then, of course, our utility providers, again, those municipally owned providers, and there's several of them out there in the state that are eligible. But here's that example of some small businesses. You got a cotton gin out there turning $7 million in revenue. We still consider it a small business. Now, if they're manufacturing breakfast cereal, they can have 1,000 employees now. Me personally thinking that's not a small business, but according to the SBA definition, it is a small business. So, when we look at businesses, I never say you're not an eligible business because of employees or revenue. I always defer to that SBA site to make sure I quote them correctly. Now, where can projects be located? That's one of the caveats to our program. Like where we're standing right now, it's not an eligible rural area. We gotta go about 15 minutes down the road to Heath or over to Wood City to be eligible. Now, I blew the one on the Texas map. There was a whole Texas map. I modified the presentation and there. I tweaked it a little bit. You know, here's where we sit. I think, I don't know if I have a pointer in here or not. But, you can see us over there.
You push that center button.
Center button, is it, now I gotta be smart enough to use it. R? Anyway, there, did I get it? Go up. Okay, we're sitting about right, in there somewhere, as a non-eligible area here in Rockwall, but those darker areas, are the non-eligible areas. You can see a lot of Texas is gonna be eligible, for the program, including some cities that a lot of people wouldn't consider, to be rural areas. Some examples of what we've done out there, some kind of odd stuff. Little solar panel sitting on a stop tank out in the middle of nowhere, to some energy efficiency, dairy improvements there, to again, the wind generators out there. We can do biomass, bioenergy, we've done several of these across the nation, some pretty big projects using thermal energy, doing the anaerobic digesters. I don't know how far we're going to get with this one, but we've got one up in the Paris area that we're working with. You may be familiar with that one. Do a lot of energy efficiency improvements. Some of them are kind of odd that you wouldn't think about, but something as simple as changing out a grain dryer can make that elevator a lot more efficient project, so it would be considered an energy efficiency improvement. State of Iowa for years blew away everyone in the nation in the use of this program to the tune that they were doing about 50 projects for every one that Texas did, and that's primarily what they were doing. I'm not sure there's a whole lot of grain dryers in Iowa that have not been replaced with our funds, because they were just doing a ton of them up there. You heard these guys talk about HVAC systems. Great project for small businesses if they're gonna go out there and replace their HVAC system. It would be an eligible use of funds as an energy efficiency improvement. And the great part about it is we can piggyback with these other programs too. It's not limited to just us. It's out there. Irrigation pumps. We could probably go in that growing green environment that it will replace the diesel motor with electric out green if we can, but we could grow a solar panel up there and make it differences in small solar, large solar, small wind, large wind. It's really the stack of paper that somebody's got to submit about the difference there. Project selection, the grants are very competitive. 3 years ago, I'd have told you, if you apply in Texas, you're gonna get funded because we weren't using all of the money. We were actually giving money back every year. That changed last year, thanks to the boss saying, hey, I'm gonna fire some people if y'all don't spend this grant money. And we all kept our jobs, and we went from number 47 in the nation to last year, Texas was the number 1 state in the use of grant funds out there. See the big highlight there, it's closed for 2012. Hopefully, again, the Farm Bill will refund that program, and we'll be talking about 2013 projects here before too long. Loan funds are still available for that one until June 29th will be the deadline for those projects. We will not spend all of our loan funds in the state of Texas in the way we're looking at. We historically give those funds back. And we just don't have enough projects to fund. Not that we don't have eligible projects, we don't have enough projects. So, money's out there. I'm happy we walk somebody right through the application. We don't go out there and hire somebody special to do it. Certain things we can't do. We can't do the energy audits. We can't do the technical reports. But as far as filling in a piece of paper, we can certainly do that. It's interesting. I gave you the 60,000-foot view at about 200 miles an hour. I'll be happy to take any questions.
And what is the normal, I would say, min-max of, when one of the projects is funded and application is submitted? Is there a min or a max or a ceiling?
As far as dollar
average?
amounts?
Yes, sir.
Well, the last couple of years, we've divided projects up into, we had an actual set aside for less than 20,000 in funds, which that's a 25% grant, so overall, that's a $80,000 project. And then, greater than 20, we're actually looking at converting a few of our less than 20 projects to over 20,000 grant to spend that bigger pot of money. But last year, probably 18,000 was the average grant on an $80,000 project. For somebody to mumble
Oh,
back
I
here.
said, when do you know we'll get refunded?
Whenever they finish the farm bill, so sometime after they finish this electric bill out here, I don't know. They'll fight for the farm bill for a long time before they actually put it out there.
So there'll be a gap of time when those happen.
We run a notice of funds availability on these, so, the notebook came out for grant funds, first part of January with the March 30th deadline, so that was the window. For the most part, we'll take applications anytime. I take an application today for a project in 2013. If there was something missing, we don't fill in the blank until that notice came out.
What percentage of your projects are going to your three application classes, being small farmers compared to small businesses compared to your utilities?
I'm gonna shoot from the hip this year. Right now, that I can think of off the top of my head, we have about 11 small business applications, and they're all solar projects. Then we have, I think it's 9 energy efficiency projects that are poultry houses over in the East Texas area. So that would be the ag producer, so it's right at 50-50. Last year, probably 60-40 on small businesses versus ag producers. It doesn't matter to us, we don't say, here's the cut, 50% is going to ag, 50% is going to small business. It goes off the dollar amount of the grant application.
Good.
But last year, with the drought, there wasn't a whole lot of farmers wanting to spend a whole lot of extra money, so, the ones that we did get last year were East Texas poultry projects, and that was primarily driven because Pilgrim said, if you don't make these improvements, you're out of here. And so they had to make the improvements. They were gonna make them whether we gave them money to go with it or not, so it just helped them out a little bit by throwing some